Hey guys, Philosopher here, and today I've got the reworks for the Gamma team. I'm going to go through the kit changes for Hulk and She-Hulk. I'm also going to go through the stats. I think I'll have some info that you won't see elsewhere because I actually, my video is actually slightly late because I had to spend the morning going through back and forth with the devs to make sure the stats were correct. The initial ones they gave us, I think, were not entirely accurate or were based on incomplete information. So I got, updated stats. I can confirm they're absolutely accurate because I got them directly from the devs. And then I'm going to walk through kind of the dev insights, and I'll do that kind of up front here with this team. They did not give us any footage of the team in action. They gave us a costume for She-Hulk, which I just don't think anyone cares about. She's in a business suit. But let me give you the bottom line of some of the things you are going to care about, why you want to listen to this video. Okay, so first of all, obviously everyone is basically going to have to build this team to get a Horseman, right? And so I think you're going to have a few questions. One of those questions is this team going to be Dormhold on defense? In other words, Dormammu plus Darkhold. The answer, according to the devs, is yes, absolutely 100%. They've tested it. This team is designed to do it. That's what they claim. They said that this is going to be the new, in their words, Apex War team, and maybe you can come up with some creative oddball way of defeating it, but it is sort of like the new Weapon X, and it's the new team that is going to just beat everything else on war offense. And so, it's great on war offense, but they designed it with the flexibility to go on defense, just like they did with Weapon X. That is their intention with this team. One thing that we did ask is whether or not this team would do okay in raids, because it's a full bio team. And while most of you have already invested in Web Warriors, for a newer player that might be interesting. And the answer is no. They don't think it'll have the sustainability to hold its own in raids. It's not designed with that in mind, and they think you're still going to have to invest in Web Warriors, which for most of you is not a big deal. You already have done so either for raids or for Morgan Le Fay unlock. But look, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to walk through the reworks. I'm not going to go through the characters you've already seen. I'm going to try to be very efficient and go into sort of what the changes are and what I see for the team. So, all right, so She-Hulk, she got some big stat increases here, but she did not get, notice no increase on resistance, and then also no increase on her speed. She's slow as molasses still, and, frankly, that's okay given her kit and how it works. But I think what's going to come as a bigger surprise to all of you is her basic, special, and ultimate are not updated. And I know you're thinking, wait, Philosopher, what the heck? She's a crappy character. Why didn't they update her kit? And the answer is, according to the devs, that when they tested her with the new stats and on a good team, she was great. And I will say that, when she came out originally, I really skipped her along with all the rest of you. But I did see when I was kind of up in a big crack at Alliance that these people who had massive She-Hulks and massive teams, they were good for a period of time, even though she was with Fantastic Four. But, part of the issue was just you needed a ton of investment. She scaled really high with gear and ISO and all that. And then in addition, Fantastic Four were really weak and had fallen off. And so I think with better teammates, she will do better. And let's walk through this passive. The parts that are new I have in yellow. So on turn, heal self for 15% of her max health. That's common for the Hulk team here, the Gamma team. On stealth, this is more for the Fantastic Four. So let's just leave that. Gain 10% damage per charged. And then when an enemy attacks this character or a member of the Gamma team, gain 1 charge. Now, you may remember, for example, from Doom 1, what a pain in the butt it was with She-Hulk. You had to focus on controlling her, and most of us really weren't focused on it. She can be a challenge if you, between that and her stun that she has, she can be a pain if you don't handle her correctly. All right. On maximum charges, transfers all negative effects from self and from the entire Gamma team and throws them to the enemy with the most damage. In war, gain 500% focus for this action, which is really important because you'll see at the end of the video, her focus is not very good. So she will be great in war. It's one thing that assures the team won't be as good elsewhere. One thing I will say is that this is a cleanse mechanic for the team. It definitely I feel like it's great for war defense because it sort of you don't need any brains to work it. It'll be interesting, and it's something for the enemy to have to account for. It forces the enemy to attack her. It means that, or control her. Even though she has low speed, the enemy has to deal with her. I'm not sure how this is going to work as well in War Offense, but the devs claim it will. And then attack the enemy with the most damage, and then they upped those percentages. That's the difference there. They're significantly up from where they are in game, and then she loses all her charges. And then in War, she gives damage to the Gamma allies, which she used to just give to herself in Fantastic Four. And that's it. Very underwhelming in my opinion, but they claim that on the team she's great. Obviously, they want to make the incentive for you to get the new characters. Now, one thing I will say, well, let's go through Hulk first, and then I'm going to talk to you about the kit. So the Hulk has been changed quite a bit. He's an older character. So they definitely increased his stats quite a bit, as you'd expect. Not his health, not as much as you'd think, because he was off the charts in health for a long time, until the most recent power creep. But let's take a look here for a second. So let's go through. I'm going to go through his kit first. Then I'm going to tell you a little bit about their design philosophy here. So attack the primary target for 300% damage. Okay, there you go. If the character is below 50% health or has charge, this attack gains 50% damage. So the has charge is new. They also, instead of 1.5x damage, they changed it to 50% damage, which I think was just a difference in how they display this stuff nowadays. His kit was written very early on in the game. If the character has charge, lose a charged. And then the special, if the character is below 50% health or has charge, attacks primary target for 500% damage. This is new. It used to be that he would just taunt and sit there. Then he gains taunt, and then he gains 5 counter instead of, I believe it was 3 before. Clear all negative effects, and then he heals himself for more than before, and then gains a charge. This is going to be his primary way, it seems like, of gaining charges, and then he'll be losing charges elsewhere. And then his ultimate, if he has charge, this attack gains 50. That should be 50% damage. Mistype there. But this is his big attack. And then on War Offense, if the primary target has revive once, clear revive once from the target, and this character gains revive once, which is pretty big. This character can only do this once per match. So this is part of the solution against against Dormammu and Dormhold. We'll talk a little bit more about this in a minute, and about the team's philosophy here. And then if this character has charge, lose 1 charge. Then the passive has been changed. In War, on spawn, if this character has 3 or more Gamma allies, gain taunt. That's huge because this character is super slow. We're going to see that in a minute. And if he does, having the pre-taunt is huge here. In other words, having the ability to taunt on spawn, then this forces the enemy to attack him. Otherwise, frankly, this is without getting some sort of speed elsewhere, and he does get speed when you attack the rest of the team, but nonetheless, this forces the enemy to attack him. I think it makes him much, much, much stronger. Obviously, it's war-only ability. When this character drops below 50% health, fill speed bar by 100%, clear stun, and gain offense up, and then gains charges. And that's going to be another way he gains charges. And then he also gains death proof and gains charge. Okay? Now, one thing I will just say... Oh, and then let's go... Wait, little bit more here on the passive. And then you see, this is a primary way that he gets speed bar. He's super slow, but when the enemy attacks the team, he gets his speed bar filled up. And then this is just a change to Gamma allies gaining armor, and then he gains armor when he's below health. And then here, while he character has taunt, he has 1,000% resistance. This is important because, as you'll see from the stats, his resistance is quite low otherwise. So he's a character that, when he doesn't have taunt, is easily debuffed. That's one of his weaknesses. Now, I think this is, a very nice rework. It's going to make him a lot stronger because he always was a character that really scaled very well with gear and all of that, and was, for a long time, the Wave 1 team was quite strong in part because of him. So I do think this is enough of a rework to make him valuable on this team. But he doesn't have quite the central role on this team that you might think. One thing, obviously, they want you to buy the new characters. They want you to build. They're forcing you to build this team regardless, but they want you to have, thick other characters. They said that they designed, for example, the Braun/Amadeus Cho character in particular to be a character that the enemy feels forced to target because he's a support. They also made clear, though, that they want this team to work without the Horsemen. And they deliberately made it so if you throw Kestrel as the 5th, because Braun essentially is flipping, and creating a lot of defense down, adding defense downs, that they think that'll work well with Kestrel. And they said it would work well with other 5ths as well. But it was an interesting design choice. And they did kind of say things that did not say specifically, but they hinted that once you get Apocalypse, you're going to have this choice to make where you either put the full Horseman team with Apocalypse or you split up the team to make the other team stronger. Now, I don't know if they're just saying that now and there's going to be more reveals later. Once again, I will just say scopely, I don't trust them to stick to anything, but they did seem to suggest that down the line, they're trying to take into consideration how these teams work without the Horsemen, which is interesting to me because they didn't really seem to do that, in my opinion, with the last two teams. To me, the last two teams are much weaker without the Horsemen on the teams. But that was what they claimed for this. They definitely took that into account, and they purposely did not have call-outs for Red Hulk here. They made it so they claim that Red Hulk's not going to transform the whole team, that the team's going to work well without him, and then he'll just add his own awesomeness to the team. All right, let's go into the stats. I put this is reason my video was slightly delayed. I had to put so much time into reworking these and making sure they were right. Her new stats, her new health is 20th, which is tied with Thor and Black Panther. You're going to see a theme here. Damage, tied 13th, tied with Ghost Rider and Black Panther. This is something I do. I calculate off of, they give us an image of the stats, and I calculate it on the MSF.gg stat table. Like I said, the original stats they gave us were off, and so I had to get them reconfirmed from them. Armor 22nd, so you could see very high, but notice tied with Thor, Black Panther. That's like a theme here. This is not me just copy-pasting. This is literally, they just seem like they chose the same stats that they did with Thor and Black Panther, who do have strong stats post-rework. Focus, tied with Thor and Black Panther. Coincidence? Resistance, and that's fairly low between Sif and Ronan. She can be controlled, and that is part of her weakness, as you could stun her, for example. And then her speed is super, super slow still. That's why that mechanic in her passive is so important. All right, let's go to Hulk. Health is 12th in the game now. That's why they didn't buff it too much because it was already pretty high. Damage now is super high, 13th, tied with Ghost Rider and Captain Marvel. I mean, Ghost Rider hits like a truck now, so it's Captain Marvel, a lot harder, so that's significant. Armor 7th, and you saw he can gain armor, so very powerful there. I think that those that's wrong between Nobu and Rocket Raccoon. Ignore those comparisons. The 7th is the highest in the game. That was just a mistype, but I just want to get this video out there. Focus is low, tied with Wong and M'Baku. And then his resistance is 107th, tied with Shuri. So focus and resistance are low. That's why you need that extra resistance from him taunting. And, he's just not a character that's going to be applying a lot of debuffs. That's just not his thing. He just smashes. And then his speed is super, super low, which is why you need that base taunt. That's why it's so important. So I hope this was helpful to you. I really tried to be very focused on what the new information was that I had, getting data out to you, and just talking to you about what the devs saw. Obviously, you're going to have to build this team if you want Apocalypse, so it's not an optional team. And so, what we've learned basically is at least this team's going to kick butt in war and going to end the dorm hold, strangle hold in war, the double taps that a lot of people are doing to defeat that team. But it's not going to be useful elsewhere in raids and so on. And we get a little bit of a clue and potentially on how the Horsemen could work. All right, guys. If you like this video, smash that like button. Subscribe to this channel. If you have comments, questions, cheers, jeers, happy, sad, angry, mad, you can put it below or go to my Discord. That's linked below. You can also go to my Twitch stream. That is linked below too.